For All Nerd Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.
You are now listening to Castle Black, the Blackest House of Dragon podcast in all the realms.
Castle Black. So this is the seat of the Night's Watch.
And welcome, internets, to the return of Castle Black, the Blackest Game of Thrones podcast in all of the realms. Today you have myself, Tatiana King, aka the Lord of Lightsabers, Princess Rey, yay, niece Targaryen, Missaria the Don, Sir Crisco Cole, it was all a dream fire, and the Ting of the North. And I am joined here by my lovely maester.
That is me, Porshea Pattersonhurst, and I am also known as the Maester of Disguise, aka the Three-Eyed Ravenclaw, aka Lady Mary Jane of Highgarden.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to be back.
I want Cersei to know it was me. Listen, I am so happy to be back. Like I told you earlier, I'm really excited that we're back and talking Game of Thrones. You know, people who have been longtime listeners of our podcast, specifically for Castle Black episodes, that, first of all, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I appreciate that everyone was sounding alarms when these trailers dropped, when every time there's some type of Game of Thrones news, everybody's like, where's Castle Black? Are y'all seeing this? Are y'all hearing this? We see, we hear, we are alive. Wake up, we are back, okay? And we want to absolutely make sure that we talk through this. Game of Thrones, specifically the House of Dragons or House of the Dragons or whatever, whatever thing we're going to call it this year, because Black people don't care. It's coming back soon. Do you know the dates of when it's actually supposed to be coming back, or is it just like summer?
I think it said June 14th,
June.
But I could be mixing that up. There's been so many trailer drops that I'm like, bro.
Right. And we'll double check. She'll double check that. But what hit us the most, obviously? June 16th. 1/6. Okay. Is that like a day after June 15th? After Juneteenth? No, Juneteenth is 19, right?
19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to say that this is a celebration of Juneteenth just because.
They ain't Black enough, but we are.
I'm just saying. Listen, the trailer came out for the upcoming season, and they did us a solid and not only gave us like a phenomenal trailer to like get us excited, they split it into two. So they split it into what's considered the green trailer and the black trailer. The green trailer obviously represents the High Towers and their views and their perspective. And then you have the black trailer, which represents our queen. And yes, we're biased right off Jump Street. Rhaenyra Targaryen.
We are Castle Black.
Come on, y'all. But yes, the black trailer represents the Team Black and the perspective of Rhaenyra Targaryen and all of that. So we watched both of these trailers a few times just to make sure we had enough understanding and thoughts and all that stuff. And I already said one majorly biased comment about our queen, but I do want to give the Greens a chance, I guess.
Who they? I just want to know who's like. I feel like I'm like, is Ben gonna just be contrarian just to say like he's like, yo?
Oh, because he loves Alicent.
Alicent, yeah.
Listen, we'll see, but I'm sure it'll be comedy. But we do have to do this properly and give full like critical analysis, okay, to both sides of the story in the trailer. And then obviously we're gonna get these jokes off and say what we need to say. But in the green trailer, as mentioned, is from the perspective of Alicent Hightower and her team's view that Aegon should be king, and allegedly, it's a lie, but allegedly Viserys told her, Applecare told me, that my son is the rightful successor and should be taking the throne. And that all Rhaenyra and her supporters want to do is fuck up the realm. They don't care about peace. They do not want peace. They just want problems always. So let's just start from there. Just watching this trailer, like, what did you take away from it? The green trailer.
that Allison is full of crap, but her daddy is the most so. He's the most full of it person in this whole series.
What's her
right
father
now.
name? Hightower. What's his face? Hightower.
I don't care because he is so irrelevant that he had to make himself relevant as soon as his friend died. Like, how are you playing this game? You know what I mean? Like, you grew up with both of them growing up together. You had all this happen. Then you marry your freaking daughter to the king, only for her to have his progeny when he's 5,000 years old. And as soon as that man looks sickly, you're already scheming and telling everybody in the realm that only a boy can inherit. You can get out of my face, Lord Hightower.
Scheming, stunts, and shows, and it's Sir Otto Hightower. I should have remembered that because I didn't get to see my other AKA Mulatto Hightower. But yeah, like I understand. Here's the thing. I understand people who are trying to look at this objectively and like, well, that's her husband, Viserys. That was her husband. That she's been doing what, as she says in the trailer, I've done nothing but be loyal to my station. I gave all the babies. I did what I was supposed to do. I did right. And I put my family first. It's only natural that my son, Aegon, is the rightful successor and should be king now. No?
No.
Why is that a no?
Homie, you know that when you saw first season that she was sitting on, again, family dinner. Remember the family dinner? Whenever the boys was acting up at the family dinner?
Yeah.
And then the father, what's his face? Was it they have so many of the same name. Viserys sat there and was like, y'all got to get it together. We can't be playing this stuff. We had that big mama speech. Like, we got it. We're family. We got to get it together. Blah, blah, blah. Then he ran and promptly died. But at the time, it was like, y'all know that y'all wildin'. Like, whatever this man said publicly, which he did publicly declare, his daughter.
When did he say that publicly, by the way? When did he say that publicly? He said that
he was on the
throne when everyone was up in the throne room, right? And he was just like, my daughter
and he has half mask on because the boy was deteriorating.
Right, when he was on his Vega shit. Yes, I remember. So he said this publicly, but she is maintaining that. And remember, because at that point it became a game of telephone, that when Viserys was mumbling and going on in his sleep, in his dreams, we from the viewers know he was talking about Rhaenyra.
But no, he wasn't in his dreams because he had told. So he
was out.
Before Alicent walked into the room.
Yes,
Rhaenyra had been in there.
Right,
she had been talking with her daddy, and he was still conscious and cognizant. He was understanding. They were having a conversation.
Right, he
was telling her about the lore of there's this like prophecy, and he's been having dreams the whole season about this prophecy about like Aegon. And his return and him being able to rule the realms during the Great Night, which is like this like prophecy about like the White Walkers basically coming back.
Right.
So he keeps having these dreams about that. And so he told Rhaenyra about it because he was like, it's now time for me to pass on this prophecy to you to make sure you safeguard it because you're going to be the heir and you need to make sure that you're ready should this happen during your reign.
Correct. So
when Homegirl comes in, he's still mumbling and jumbling about that Aegon. She's like, you're talking about my Aegon. And it's like, no, stop it. You're looking for any opportunity to insert your son in there when you are not even trying to listen to what this man is saying. This is elder abuse because this man is actually talking about something else. You just want to insert your Aegon into it.
That part. And that's when it comes to things like people, like, and this is just in general in real life, like when people turn narratives to, or turn people's comments to fit their narrative. And that's what this feels like. It's like, and again, the argument for Alicent will be, well, you know, she's in a very vulnerable space. She feels she's done the necessary. She's been a generous queen, and her husband is just merely giving her what she's been working for all this time, essentially, right? What do you say to that? Like, can you deny Alicent that, right? That she is twisting it to match, but it's also like she hasn't heard anything to the contrary, right? Except for that very public display. And I'm really glad that you mentioned that. So why didn't that public expression of what Viserys says, why is that not counting?
Because her father had been scheming and plotting ahead of time to displace Rhaenyra
Right.
as the person who would inherit, because he doesn't believe, and he's been working with the other men of the realm,
Right.
to say that a woman should not inherit the throne. It can only be passed down by the male line. And this all could have been avoided if King Viserys would have simply kept it in his pants and had not effed a minor and had these other children.
Well, that didn't happen. So now what?
So now we're here.
So now what? Now also in this trailer, in the green trailer, you have Aegon, who he's very immature to me. He's very immature to me.
He is playing up being a mistake. Like, he knows he's a mistake, and he is playing it up. He is just like, yes, I am the mistake. Mediocrity, that's me.
Mistake of the century. Like, yeah, he's mediocre, but it's also, I'm concerned because my thing is, when you're talking about a realm like this and all the implications and the backstabbing, this and that, you need someone who has that, and I'm not saying age, I'm talking about a level of maturity and a level of understanding, and not just simply power grasping. Like, because to me, Aegon, I mean, he even says it, he don't care about no damn peace. Like, Alicent was talking about, well, when my husband was here, it was peaceful in the streets, and now Rhaenyra wants war. No. Those are technically your sons
wanted war.
Who did this. And
y'all wanted this. And y'all brought the heat.
And right, thank you. And then Aegon is to just throwing fuel to the fire, because he's like, well, shit, if they want war, let there be war. And to me, it's almost flippant. Like, he's taking it like it's a game and it doesn't matter. And that's why I also mean about lack of maturity.
Well, that's the thing too, is if you remember from season 1, he was brought, again, this all would have been avoided had old man simply kept the thing in his pants.
You know, it's asking a lot in a Game of Thrones world.
But it's asking a lot apparently in real life too. Yeah. Like, apparently. But like, if he had, because like, think about it. Like, it's about like being present as a parent, right? And he was a present parent to Rhaenyra. He was not a present parent to any of them kids that he had with Alicent. He was like already starting to get sick. He was already like not actively like even paying no mind to them.
He had like psoriasis or whatever, the flaky skin, whatever the fuck was going on.
Yeah. Like, he was not like a present parent to them. And so all the things that like they needed to learn, like skillcraft or whatever, they learned it from their grandfather. And he didn't think, he's one of those people who wants to be regent. He doesn't want them to lead the stuff. He wants to lead it. He wants to be the one who says what's policy. He wants to be the one engaging with people and building coalitions or whatever. So that means the boys, even though they'll be like in the King's Council meetings or whatever, they're just like, I'm bored. And so for fun for them was them like going out and doing like, you know,
who that shit with their friends.
But they were like jousting or whatever, their friends with their cousins or whatever, or their nephews or whatever. And whenever they kept getting one-upped by these younger boys because their father, they was always down there, you know, with their father so strong, then they just started getting arrogant about, well, at least I'm a prince, or, you know what I mean? Like, they're playing that game. And Aemon, like, if you look at first season, every scene he gets, he's not thinking in a way of like, let me like set an example, let me like act like I'm like, I got this or whatever, like I'm ready to take on like the throne if it comes to me. He's very much playing, I'm just a wealthy child doing what I will. And also, and I did just blame
Alicent
Viserys for not being a present parent. But freaking Alicent is also an awful mother. Alicent was like, if you remember Alicent with them boys, Alicent was good for, like, did the nurses have the kids? Are they taking care of? Are they alive? School? Right. And then as soon as like they say something crazy, she'll smack them. So what they know from her is violence. Like physical violence. They don't know actual care, and like, and she was super young when she had them, so she didn't, you know, so it all makes sense.
They don't have a sense of conflict resolution.
They don't. And so like, it's attention seeking. It's like feeling self-righteous. It's like making sure that they have what they feel like they want. It's nothing about like the good of the realm. That's not a consideration.
Okay. And like I said, I opened it up with a biased comment, but it's just like even after just in terms of how I felt watching, like I had nothing for Allison and I had nothing for that family. And obviously it's harder as a viewer because you literally got to see everything from the outside perspective, from the chorus perspective, right? Where you see all the pieces being moved and you're yelling at the screen. That's not what that nigga Viserys said, but here we are, right? And that's what happens, especially like that happens in real life where you have that, as I mentioned, a game of telephone where it's just like, well, this fits my narrative and it can't be anything else. Like there's no way. And that's what I'm trying to understand. Like I get it. That friendship has been gone, but like there's no part of Allison that's just like recognizing the fact that like, regardless of what her father and all these other people say, there's no part of Allison that's just like, she knows what Viserys had been saying all this time. She knows what he had said when he held court with people. Why would now all of a sudden on his deathbed, why would he do a 180?
I think she's resentful. I think there's an underlying resentment, and I feel like that's very apparent that she has underlying resentment for Rhaenyra. But I think that resentment is tied to the man she married respecting his daughter more than he respected her as his wife.
Okay. I like that. I like what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. She still pisses me off greatly.
I don't care about the girl, but I try to understand.
You try to understand. So then like what are we going to see from them this season, right? Obviously a lot of treachery. Like her father is at the wheel. And that's another thing, like for all of this bullshit Allison is saying, she's still not in charge and she still never will be. She still has no control.
But she never wanted. That's the part that bugs me the most. If you look at her characterization, like that first season, whenever they were both young, she never was the grasping for power type. She wasn't a Cersei. She wasn't a like I'm gonna prove a point to all the men around here that a woman can be in charge. She was not that. She was always just like kind of like a support person. And I think that's also the resentment she has. Like she was a support to Rhaenyra, and it was whenever her father started pushing her, like whenever the old queen died, and he saw her, he kept seeing Alicent in proximity to the king. And honestly, it didn't seem like Alicent was trying to get close to the king initially because she had like ulterior motives. It seemed like she just was trying to be a nice person. She did feel bad for him, and she was like spending time around him or whatever because she just enjoyed that time spent with him for a second. He was more like hospitable as a father figure to her than her father was. So it was like chill. And her father picked up on that and was like, we're going to play to that to our advantage.
Right.
You're going to get in his bed and you're going to be queen. And as soon as because she wants love from her father, she's obedient to him.
Right.
So that overrides her friendship to Rhaenyra. And then all that happens.
I don't know why common sense don't override her. Cause like for you to say, I did everything I was supposed to do and and you see how they do you. They did you. Like you see how they do you. So why are you not trying to make a difference and do something different and show them and one up? I feel like that shows a lack of. On one hand, I want to say it shows a lack of strength. On the other hand, you also feel like there's other ways to go about getting what you need. So I don't know.
I feel like especially in this world that George R. R. Martin wrote, basically, it's very, very misogynistic. It's very much like the patriarchy is the like one and holy power.
Yeah.
And to me, Alicent represents all the women who are complicit with like patriarchy and they're like, I just want to survive. I don't want to be a squeaky wheel. I don't want any attention paid to me. That's gonna they're gonna take me out. I'm gonna just do everything they tell me to do so that they don't F with me.
Just so I make it out of here. Now, on the other side, we have the Black trailer, which, as mentioned, our queen, Rhaenyra, this is her perspective of where she is. And let's remind everybody where shit is with her, okay? This nigga Aemond ate his dragon anyway, ate Luke and Luke's dragon, okay? This is what kicks, to me, that's what kicks off the Civil War and everything else going on. Like, besides the game of telephone being wrong, but this is a catalyst, a nexus event. Like, there's no turning back from there.
I think at the time, both sides were just like, again, Otto Hightower had lined things up to him that they had enough firepower to hold down the the Dragon King's Landing. He's like, I got enough firepower where is because of the location of King's Landing. It's like on the west side of Westeros.
Okay.
Yes. And like High Garden and Hightower land is like Old Town. It's not that far down. It's like a little further down south. So like he's like, I know which lords support like one Hightower, like that are sworn to my house, but also who are anti men being ousted as the people who were sitting on a throne.
Right.
So
Patriarchy.
I can use that to my advantage and all of that. Rhaenyra, on the other hand, was on, I'm pregnant. I'm trying to have a child. I'm beefing with Homegirl because every time I see Homegirl, she's got something else to say. Yeah, her son got stabbed in the eye, but he deserved it.
But so what? Niggas get stabbed in the eye every day, B. This is Game of Thrones. Whatever.
Did he live? Did he live?
Did he die?
Like,
but
did
you die is the question. And you didn't. You're all right. You got the sapphire. You good. That obviously for clear reasons is unforgivable what happened. But to me, that's truly the what got the ball rolling in all this craziness. And in this trailer, in the Black trailer, Rhaenyra maintains that her father wanted her to be heir to the throne. We saw what he said publicly. We saw what he said, even like he had that whole conversation. And now, regardless of whether Allison knew Rhaenyra was in there a few moments ago, she had this whole fucking conversation. The king, Viserys, did not have this conversation with Aegon or none of his fuck ass children at all. He had this conversation with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is the fave. Rhaenyra is the heir. So it's just a level of cognitive dissonance you have to have. And I'm seeing this from Allison's perspective to just be like, despite everything that I've seen throughout my childhood, you know what I'm saying? It's not like Allison came out of nowhere. Like, she's been there for decades now. Are they in their 20s now or something like that? So for you, but just forego all of that, it's just completely mind-blowing to me.
She's doing what her father wants. She's being the obedient woman. And Rhaenyra, like, that's the thing about if you're a woman upholding the patriarchy, any woman who is not upholding the patriarchy is a threat and is a problem.
Oh my God.
And Rhaenyra is that problem. And I love Rhaenyra for just being like, I'm gonna be that problem. Like, it's the right way. Like, it's exactly like you are upholding the patriarchy of like a man successing me. However, the man who was here before me told you that I was the heir. So where's the patriarchy there? Like, you're not going to listen to the man who told you I was the heir? What's going on?
No, this is when nepotism's supposed to happen. Like, what is going on?
That's how monarchy works. It's a big old it's a big nepotism bowl. Like, what are we doing?
Okay. And then just contrary to what, like, as I had mentioned, Aegon's very immature. I believe like Rhaenyra is mature. Rhaenyra has been mature since she was a child, right? And to her detriment and to, you know, her success. But
she was also raised to be.
She was raised to be a leader. Yeah. She was given the tools, and as mentioned, Viserys told her things that he would never tell his little stepchildren. I know those are children, but
they basically treated them like they was grandkids.
He don't care about them. Like, we talked about this, and y'all, if y'all just joining us and never heard of Castle Black, we encourage you to go back to the previous episodes of the last season so you can really understand like what we're talking about. Viserys ain't hang out with his own children, his other children, I should say.
Them
his
grandbabies.
Firstborn is where it's at, okay? And how obvious can it be? And I don't know, but I do want to continue on with what we saw in this Black trailer, and also what we saw in the other trailer too. But just the prevalence of and is this is considered the Dance of the Dragons, or this whole Civil War situation where everyone's coming out on a tool, you know, they're bringing out the tools, they're bringing out the hammers, it's going nuts. Okay, this is Dance of the Dragon. All right, and as much craziness as this man is, you also got to commend Uncle Husband Damon. That nigga is the definition of ride or die. That nigga is the general, is the right hand. And when I say I screamed at the screen when he was like, our terms are very simple. You will renounce the false king. You'll bend the knee to your queen or your house will burn. That's it.
I just want to talk about how everyone in the green trailer and the black trailer, nobody looks happy. Everyone looks miserable.
Except
even Aegon with his crummy, immature, I'm here holding space, but looked miserable as he was doing it. Damon, gleeful.
Because it's like, and that's why as problematic as Damon is, yes, we know. I gravitate to people who are definitive and decisive, and he's just like, no, you're gonna do this or not. Like, it's not a conversation, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like with the Greens, it's always a conversation, and and like, no, with him, Damon's just like, nah, nigga, you either understand who's in charge, who's the HBIC, or you don't, and you will be eliminated. And why is that so hard to understand? And I think you were talking about it to me right before about having that firepower to be able to say that, right? So having enough dragon riders, having enough dragons, and also having enough supporters behind you, because I know that's a problem, and that's one of the problems from the last season, that Rhaenyra supporting. She has support from certain houses, but it feels kind of shaky.
And it's a problem. I feel bad, like the people I feel most bad for, because, you know, let's be completely clear here. These are all rich white folks having inbred problems right now. And that it is what it is. But the real people who are the victim are the people of Westeros, who are going to be terrorized by these big old dragons, just blasting crap to flame. Just running up and down the streets, just everything's lit. Like, that's who's really going to be the sufferers of this whole like saga.
I'm really
like it's a mess.
Glad you said that, because that, I mean, even in superhero movies and things, we forget about the collateral damage, and and we reduce it to collateral, but these are lives, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I even forgot that. I was like, damn, I forgot about the realm. Like, the realm is gonna suffer.
So did the Targaryens. Like, right now they're having the in-house war. There is a whole realm to govern. There are people who need resources that y'all are about to put a fire, because homeboy would not keep his penis in his pants after he became 70. Like, that's why we're all here. And that is so unfortunate. And I think another, like, on that note of like the casualties of this, I keep one Easter egg that I think I caught. I could be wrong, because the guy looked a little bit bigger than the actors that I saw play them in the first season. Okay. But there are two brothers, the Cargills, that end up on either side of the Blacks and the Greens, and they have a very tragic like trajectory, being twin brothers who choose the other side. And I'm like, it is just like catastrophic, super sad. Very tragic.
Does it have like bearing on like what the story though? Like what's gonna happen?
It does, because it interrelates to like whatever ends. Like at the end of the day, when everything is burned to a crisp, everything's down, and the people who are still left standing, they're so completely traumatized by all the crap they see that has happened to get them to the place where they're the survivors. And like, it changes the way, like, you know how this is like the most dragons we've seen in the Westeros. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why that's a thing. There's a reason why Daenerys was the only one with 3 dragons, or the only person with dragons, period. Mm-hmm. And then it was those 3. Like, there's a reason, and this is the herald of all that. This is what brings it all. This is Dragon Ragnarok, basically.
This is the end of times, right? And everyone, like I said, all the farmers and all them people are gonna fucking suffer because of it. Now, when we talk about the dragons, right? Like, because we were trying to get these together, because that's another thing. It's been, how many years has it been?
Since 2 or 3.
So it's been a while since we've said these names on a daily basis, and like we do see a lot of the different players that are still around and their dragons. So like we do see Rhaenys, and again, remember, I love what Rhaenys did. Like when this is during the coronation, right? When
I'm still mad. She could have ended it right there. It could have been it could have been
that. I like that she popped out, but. However, why didn't you just end shit right there. And I remember there was a good like Ben may have said like a particular reasons why she just, because I mean at the end of the day, Rhaenys was like, this is not my fight. I'm not really supposed to be up in this. But that's
also, they wasn't
niece.
like
that's your whatever Rhaenyra is to her.
They had you locked up downstairs. They took your dragon, had it locked up downstairs. If that's not fighting flame words, then what else is? Y'all gonna lock me up? Me? You gonna lock me up?
But Rhaenys, she's remember before she had said I want no parts of it, but she's gonna align. She's aligned with Rhaenyra, right? Like,
but if you notice from the trailer, that's because her husband is like, y'all gotta do something. Y'all buck up. They over here throwing hits, and you just taking them. We gotta buck up. Gotta get together because he's in there coaching. So he's the one who makes the alliance that way. She was trying to stay out of it. He's like, nah, we're in here.
Okay, and she has Maelys, this is a fire dragon.
And it's convenient because her husband has no dragons. He just has a fleet.
Right, he just has the largest fleet in the world. Right, he has the big ship fleet. Right.
Yeah, which can be burned by dragons. So
this is right. The Valarians. And then we have Baela. Baela's in the trailers, right? Trailer.
Yes. Well, she was in the teaser too, I think.
Okay.
The Black Girl Riding Dragons is like my part of my brand. I love Black women dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I can see it, I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, she had a war face on, but she looked happy. But she looked like she had a war face on.
She looked like she was about it. Like, she's like, we about to go to war. And who she rides? She rides Moondancer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are any of these dragons, or is that just later when they talking about Daenerys and stuff? Like, you know how like Daenerys, like there's a dragon that, it became a White Walker basically. It breathed like blue flame and ice and all this other stuff. Is that just something they did, or are these dragons really supposed to have different like Pokemon? Like what? That's what I'm trying to understand. Like besides the way they look and their size and all this other stuff, like are they supposed to also have these different breathing powers and whatnot? Is this how to train your dragon or not?
No. So like the main thing is that like or at least in the Song of Ice and Fire universe that was written as it was written. The only thing that looks like that scene hasn't happened yet because we hadn't gotten that far in the series, if we ever get that far, right? So that dragon zombie thing, if it does happen, it didn't happen in the books yet. 2, the only sign that we have of dragons that have a different set of powers is like lore. It's like super, like no one knows it, no one has proved it, and anyone who's gone in that area, it's like a Iceland sea that's like far off away from Westeros, and there's tales that there are dragons there that have ice powers, but we don't know that for sure because they've never been documented and they've never come to where like the maesters write down the storytelling or whatever. So
so
it's possible, but it's not likely, and it's never happened in Westeros history. So, like, none of the dragons we probably will see will have that power.
So we're just gonna see straight up carnage, melee, fire, all that stuff. I mean, now I'm like thinking, like I said, I keep getting these images of what happened to Lucerys, and I'm just like, God damn, like the way Arryx, that was his dragon.
He barely had any skin left. He barely had anything that floated down. It was just like,
and this is another reason why that's so fucked. I mean, for obvious reasons, but it's so fucked up. Rhaenyra didn't have nothing to bury. She had his clothes and pieces of dragon wings, you know what I'm saying? And the breasts and the dark meat and the white meat. Like she had nothing. And it's just like the mental toll that takes. Like not only has your son been taken away from you and another dragon, because that's deep in your heart, that's part of your DNA, but you have nothing to even grasp onto physically, like nothing physical to bury, nothing to have. I mean, you can build an altar, I guess, but there's just nothing to. There's nothing to honor. There's literally nothing. You can't even make ashes.
I wish I could say that would be the last time we see something that vivid with the dragons, but it's not. And what? I will also say that I feel bad for like thinking about Rhaenyra and where she's sitting in that. Like, she just sent that boy to go send. He begged her for the chance.
He did
to go
beg her
take a letter
to do his comment.
He was supposed to be a messenger. literally don't shoot the messenger. He got shot. Like that is
he got Rickied. Like, this is crazy.
It is, and it was only because they did not know that his a-hole freaking uncle was there already. If he hadn't have been, if the timing had just been slightly better, it would have never gone that way. But because it did, and we were talking about that episode how like Eamon, like he didn't seem like he was ready to kill.
Want that to happen.
He was like ooh, oh. And it's like, that's why you should not be on this big old dragon. The old dragons are like, you have to have a kind of freaking rapport with them. And the older they get, the less they listen to you, because they've already had their dragon riders that they were ride or die for. You're just another one. You know what I mean? You have to build out that relationship, and he hadn't built that out yet. And so that big dragon was like, I'm just irritated. I'm gonna eat. And that's what he did. And I think
because Eamon didn't initially didn't want that shit. I will be fair and say I remember that, and Eamon was shocked, and like you said, the dragon wasn't listening. He didn't go there to turn Luke into a snack. He was already
there, to be honest. Like
he was there being an asshole.
Then Luke, he was there, and then Luke popped in, and he was like, "Oh, it's time to bully my freaking nephew.
Bully my cousin or whatever he is,
cousin nephew,
both
of them."
Fucker,
he's like, it's not or, it's all slashes. Like they're all of these things.
Right. That's my grandmother's sister. What? Like
grandma with a baby. They both. It's
strange. But like I said, I will give that fairness that yes, that wasn't his intent, but it's also like, how stupid can you be? And why was you fucking there in the first place just to fuck with Luke? You understand? So
that's the immaturity. But also I want to say that like that goes against what I was saying earlier about Viserys not making sure them children was taught. Like, why weren't they getting dragon lore lessons more like focused? That like you learn like why you don't want to go up against someone, and you would have learned this. Like, it's hard to train a big old dragon. You don't you can't tell an old dog new tricks. Can't do that as a dragon.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned earlier just the fact that as little cousins fight and whatever, like it became more adversarial as they got older, and because they didn't have the proper guidance, that everything, their intent, like even though it may not be their initial intent, it always ends up negative. Like everything that they do or touch, it ends up causing a problem. And you know, I feel like on the other side, like when you looked at Luke and Jace, like they innocent.
They knew their daddy's love. Sir Strong was there for them.
What was Ash Ketchum just going out in the world as a 10-year-old with his Pokemon, and look what happened. Like, I just see, now I'm remembering it, and now I'm like crying again. Like, I felt so bad. Okay, so we talked about the trailers and all the people and the things. What is in store for us this season? Like, as it relates to, I don't know how much because again, it's been a few years too since you last read the books and all this stuff. Like, you mentioned about the twins, that story might come into play about the two twin guys who one's maybe going to the green, the Cargills. One's going to the green, one's going to the black. What else are we gonna see? Obviously, the Dance of the Dragons. We're gonna see the carnage and mayhem.
Yeah, we're gonna see some. Be ready, be prepared. For dragon deaths that you don't want to see.
Which is the nigga that is in love with Allison's feet? Which one is that nigga?
Kristen Cole? Or is that someone else?
Well, no, that wasn't Kristen. Well, since you mentioned that.
Oh, no, he died. You remember he died. Okay. They killed him.
I just wanted to make sure that he was dead. But since you mentioned Sir Crisco, this nigga is a wannabe. And he's a pick-me. And I don't like him clearly, but he's a big pick-me, because you remember how now all of a sudden he has purpose because he has something to latch to. I don't like people who require other people to have purpose. It's very weak-minded to me.
Where's your life? Why don't you have a life?
Where are you? Like, it's like, and I was trying to liken like who he thinks he's trying to be. Like, he's trying to be the mountain. Like how the mountains was for Sir Cersei. He's trying to be the mountain when it comes to Allison. And all of it really is also a level of revenge, because he's mad that long ago Rhaenyra said, Rhaenyra chose, like, she said, I'm not with that fuck shit. I'm not with you, fuck boy. I'm trying to build. I'm trying to be queen. Like, I can't deal with you. Know your place. Know your role, right? But whatever. And then this whole thing with the Velaryons, and again, how much Rhaenys is gonna be a factor. I hope she is. How much Bayla and the rest of them is going to be a factor. I do want to see Black girl dragon riding. What's going to happen?
It's not. It is. Look, as miserable as everybody looked, they're gonna misery loves company, and I just look forward to a whole season of misery with a couple of moments of chuckles with Damon and his jokes, because that's that's all I can suppose. Remembering what I remember, I'm about to tell. Let me see if I can tease anything.
Yeah, can you tease anything from being the Grandmeister who knows the story generally, right? Mm-hmm. Can you tease something that's not? It's not going to spoil us.
Speaking of men who don't keep it in their pants, we need to keep an eye on Damon.
Keep an eye. Well, this nigga's crazy. Of course, we got to keep an eye on him. But I hear you. Heard, understood. Okay. He's another one that's not good at child rearing. But
no,
he has problems.
At least he was there for hugs when the daughter's mother died. Like at least he had that. I just give him that. That's the only thing I give him for fatherhood.
I'm gonna need them because there's like at least that one dragon that Damon was singing to that one time in the keep, in the dragon keep. I'm gonna need them to pull out all the blickies as much as possible. And
we will see the full range. Like we will see like all the Pokemon in your pocket, all of them in your set. You're gonna see all of them pop out. They're all coming out.
And do you have to be a Targaryen in that Targaryen family tree branch to be able to ride a dragon?
That's another thing I can give you. Not necessarily. Dragons are loyal to those who can win their loyalty.
Okay.
And we haven't met some of the people who that will apply to yet.
And can a rider have more than one dragon?
No.
Or is it like a one-to-one relationship?
One-on-one.
Okay.
Unless somebody die. Unless a dragon die, unless a person die.
Well, right, but then it becomes free. But like how
it's still 1-on-1 at that point.
What Aegon ended up doing, but or was it Aegon? Aemond. Thank you. Aemond ended up doing. Okay, fine. Yes, thank you, Porshea. Thank you for joining and giving your take. And this has been our review of the Black trailer and the Green trailer for the upcoming season of House of Dragons, House of the Dragons, whatever title we're going to use today. Thank you, everyone who has listened to us, who is longtime listeners, who are new listeners. We appreciate you. Again, this is Castle Black, the Blackest Game of Thrones podcast in all of the realms, powered by For All Nerds. You want to listen to us and hear more, especially when the season comes out. We're going to be reviewing and recapping every episode. Make sure you are following, subscribing, all of that to For All Nerds on your favorite podcast platform. We are absolutely everywhere. There's nowhere you will not find us in any realm, in any multiverse. We are there. Make sure you're also following us on the socials at For All Nerds. If you're on Twitter, you can also check out the Castle Black. It's called Castle Black Pod. It's their Castle Black Game of Thrones focused Twitter stream. So in that is all jokes all the time. We are sharing information, insights, everything that we know about the season and also about the story and characters in general. Make sure you're following us. I'm at Tatiana King. What's your new? Because I realized you changed your name on Twitter. What's your new at? Do you know?
No,
it's not. She doesn't.
I do know it. I do know it.
Okay.
That's funny because it is Porshea knows. Across everything. So I changed it so it could be easier to find me everywhere. So
how do you spell it?
Porshea, Porshea, knows, Knows.
Right. And then also there will be DJ Ben Hameen, as always. And we are, as before, we're going to also be having our all-star episode or sods, more than one, where we're going to be joined by friends of the Castle Black house, the House of Castle Black, friends of foreigners in general. And it's going to be a good time. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you are locked in. We love you. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.